Some of the multimedia that I use is strictly meant to show how the material in the class relates to popular culture. Won't get fooled again, okay, by The Who off of what I think is possibly one of my Desert Island discs. You know how people say if you could go to Desert Island and only bring 10 CDs with you? I think Who's next? After all, this particular course is for non-majors. These are students who are not interested in biology. They're not interested in science. Okay, so what are they interested in? Well, most college students spend about 23 hours of the day thinking about popular culture, thinking about TV and movies and music and the internet. And so I'm trying to show them how the material in the class relates to those things that they care about. So that's definitely part of what I'm trying to accomplish. But there's a more serious aspect to it as well, which is that biology is the science of life, and life moves. Life is in motion. And so many of the most important things that we try to talk about in biology class involves motion, involves dynamic processes. And so in order to demonstrate those things, I have to use multimedia. I have to use animation and video in order to show how these things work in the real world. So I guess I'd say I use multimedia for two purposes. One is to connect to the students' lives through videos and photos and music and that kind of thing, but also to more help clearly demonstrate the concepts that I'm trying to get across to the students. Somebody went somewhere, somebody did something. See a movie? Say again? That's right, and you know what, my sons were there. Both read and I mean, every lecture that I go into, I've got certain content that I want to get across to the students, both facts and also process, how to think about things. So that's part of my goal. I might go into a class saying, okay, today my goal is to describe the structure of DNA, or today my goal is to show how DNA fingerprinting is important within our society. So I've always got those content-related goals, but then I have more general goals, which is, my most basic goal is to get students to come to class. In a class like the non-majors course, where students, they don't want to be there. And so my first, major goal is to get them to come to class, because you can't teach students if they're not there. So that's a major goal. Once they're there, another major goal is to capture their interest. That students are, often bored and have a short attention span for topics they don't like. If there's a lot of jargon and things they don't understand, it's easy for them to tune out quickly. So my next goal, once they're in class, is to get their attention and to keep and capture their attention. Once I've done that, then my goal is to engage them, is to get the students not just to passively receive the information that I'm trying to communicate to them, but to interact with me, with each other, and with the curriculum that I'm trying to get across. So making connections from the curriculum to my goals within the course, but also to popular culture and what's important to the students and the larger issues of society, so that the students engage the material, discuss it with me, with each other, and I think that really helps them internalize the material a little bit. So to get them actively involved in their own learning in some way. That's definitely one of the goals I set for each class. Okay, DNA is made of proteins. Okay, 25% of us, 25 of us thought that was true. 17 of us thought that was false. Okay, hold that thought. How about another question? How about this one? If you know the nucleotide sequence of one DNA... there's lots of different ways to teach. I'm pretty sure that I could teach on a desert island if I had no access to any kind of multimedia, any kind of technology, or even a chalkboard. I'm pretty sure that I could still teach. I know that I can teach just with a chalkboard. In some of my upper level classes, I teach using only chalk and not using any technology at all. But I also like to teach using the kind of the full-blown multimedia presentations that I do in my biology and society course. So to answer that question, I'd have to say what's constant through those things, and that is a real enthusiasm on my part for the material. I think that students can tell when you're interested and really enthusiastic about a topic, and I think that that gets communicated to them in a way that makes them perk up and pay attention and say, well, if it's really important to him, maybe it's something I want to pay attention to. And I just think a generally positive attitude and enthusiasm really captures students' interest, and I think that's a big part of the goal in a course like biology and society, is to get the students to want to come to class, to want to pay attention. And I think the most effective way to do that, no matter how you're teaching or no matter what you're teaching, is to be really enthusiastic about about that day's lesson. And so every day I go in with the goal of really trying to convey my sincere and honest enthusiasm for the material. You know, I don't have to fake it. I really do love biology, and I love communicating it to the students, and I love this course. So, you know, effectively communicating that enthusiasm, I think, is the most important thing that I can do.